Hey guys, I am here with one of my closest friends, Rebecca. She is the founder of Terre Interiors. She is an absolute fountain of knowledge when it comes to interior design, business tips, design in general, creative. She helps me with so much with my own business, but also my space. She's designed my office, my home, and now all of my friends are using her, and everyone in London is obsessed with her. So I just can't wait to go into this conversation with her, and it's going to be great. So welcome, Rebecca.
Hello. Just first of all, it's so hot in here, and Bryony refuses to put the aircon on. So if drips start kind of going down the forehead, it's not nerves, it's just pure sweat from heat. Oh, thanks for having me on.
Oh, I'm so happy you're here.
I know.
I've
been so nervous, haven't I? I've not done a podcast before, so.
I know. I don't know why you're so nervous.
I know.
I was like, Rebecca, because obviously we're recording this when it hasn't even launched. I was like, don't worry about it. I have 0 listeners.
But I think it's because I saw something on Instagram the other day. You know, like in your head, you want to be this mysterious kind of, people want to think she's so cool, and actually just the total opposite, where I'm an oversharer. So it's almost like,
yeah, but that's why
what are you going to say?
Yeah, but you're the perfect podcast guest because you are an oversharer.
I am an oversharer.
And, which I love, and actually this is another thing that I want to get onto. Rebecca has obviously created the most incredible business, but what she's amazing at, which we'll talk about, is everyone that meets her just falls in love with her, and she's so good in every situation, finding common ground with everyone. You're amazing in obviously client meetings, but yeah, it's just such a fun process working with you. So let's go back to how this idea of Terre Interiors was even born. I know you were working for a company at the time.
Yeah.
Take us back.
So I was working for a company, and the company originally was a furniture company. So that's kind of how I found my route into the world of furniture interiors, because I didn't take like a traditional route. So I got this job in a furniture company, loved it, loved like learning about layouts and floor plans, because people would come in and they might just need a sofa, but they'd say, well, can you help us work out what size? So we'd be looking at the floor plan.
And how do you piece it together?
How would you piece it together? Yeah. And then from there, people would want more information. So not only did I learn the technical side, because I'd be drawing out the layouts and the floor plans, I'd kind of just go a bit rogue, and then they'd start emailing me about, well, what colour do you think? What size coffee table do you think? So it really started to snowball. And the guy that owned
Is that when you realised it was also a passion?
I mean, I knew
putting it all together rather than just the furniture.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've always known it was a passion, but to be honest, up until that point, I hadn't experienced that world. So, and I had no kind of formal training. So it was almost like, should I actually be giving this advice? But to me, it was like pretty obvious. It was like, well, if you're going to put, the sofa there, the chairs need to go there. And it was just kind of coming.
Natural,
and I loved it. And the guy that owned the company, he was very entrepreneurial. He was incredible, always having new ideas. And he had the thought of building out another department, like another side of the business, which was home staging. So I kind of kick-started that department, built it. And it was just incredible. And I think that's what then gave me the entrepreneurial aspect, because although obviously the company was the company, we had the company name, we'd never done it before. So I was having to reach out to people and say, we can
It was like a new arm of the business.
Arm.
That was kind of under your remit, and you created, and you could be entrepreneurial under the kind of support of your boss.
Yeah, and I suppose that was incredible, because it was a risk in the fact that I put myself out there and said, I can do this. But if it didn't work out, it wasn't my money. So it was kind of the best of both. But I put a lot of pressure on myself, but I learned a lot, because when you're starting from nothing, you have to be so creative. So when I'd go to estate agents and say, oh, we offer this service, they'd say, okay, well, can we see what you've done? We hadn't done anything. So it's like, how do you then push that forward? So I'd be speaking to clients who'd have our sofas in their houses or a few of the pieces, and I'd say, look, can we use your picture?
And
so
just
I'd
piece it
together, or
can I just tell one of my favorite stories? No, but I think that this is proof that you don't need to go down the traditional route of interior design training, and like sometimes training on the job I actually think is the best type. You learn so much. But Rebecca came over for dinner the other night. She was telling me and my boyfriend.
Oh no, I know what you're going to say.
And she said that were you a Saturday girl at an estate agent? And she said that she thought when it said under offer, it was like a discount.
Yeah,
discount
I was like,
day.
Yeah, so people would come in and say, oh, I've seen this property on like Fulham Road. I can see it's under offer. And I was like, yeah, you're going to get a really good discount. And I was like, I was like, look, the estate, because on a Saturday, which is really weird. Like
they just left you to it.
Yeah, they'd like literally leave me to it, and I'd have to like drum up all the inquiries. And I remember I left this whole list, and I spoke to them on the Monday. I was like, guys, you've got so many inquiries and offers on that property, and they're like, yeah,
it's
cool,
under offer.
It's gone. It's literally gone. Why are you doing that?
And you're like, no, I know it's under offer. They're all gonna get.
I was
really
like, buy one get one free, like flogging all these houses. Yeah.
Yeah, but I just love that, and it just goes to show you don't need like. Education isn't suitable for everyone, and
no,
I think
it wasn't for me.
That is exactly, and actually I did go to university, but I did it part-time, and I didn't enjoy it at all. And if I had my time again, I would not have invested my time in that. I would have done something else.
Yeah.
And obviously it goes without saying, if you want to be a lawyer or a doctor or something like that, you need education.
Yeah, of course.
But I think in these creative jobs or a more kind of entrepreneurial situation, I think learning on the job is the best.
Which is so funny.
As soon as you can as well.
I get like younger people. I don't know if you're saying that. I'm not that old, but you know, like younger people contacting me saying, oh, you know, can they get some experience? And they've got all the degrees. They've been to the best interior design universities. Like they've got all the technicals, but throw in the sofa it can't get up the stairs, or the builder's late, or just, you know, really
or the clients change their mind last minute. You have to just turn it around,
and they can literally just not know how to react. Whereas if you've been in it and kind of you've made all the mistakes, you've kind of witnessed how other people deal with things. Like I've watched seniors, how they react. That's like real life skills, and then you build up the confidence that way. Yeah. So on one side, it would be great to have all the technicals, but I really do think having the life experience is key. For me anyway. That's just how I learn.
So you built your experience under the umbrella of this other company, learned from kind of your boss, who was almost like a mentor to you. And then at what point did you think, okay, did you quit straight away, or did you build something on the side? What was the next step?
It was actually like a really difficult time, because on one hand, like if you told younger me, you're going to have this job, like it pays well. I worked with like incredible people. I'm actually in the industry that I would like dreaming of.
You were very safe, secure.
Yeah, it'd be like, oh my God, like just buckle down and
be glad
be grateful. And I'm so grateful. But there was just something in me where it was like, we had that crazy ride to build the department. Then it was done.
Snowballed.
I mean, it's never done, but it got to the point where it was like, it was financially
you had
working.
done whatever you could to.
Exactly.
There was nothing more to add in that sense.
And at that point, it was like just maintaining a really good standard. And I'm really kind of passionate about the standard staying high. So then at that point, I was like, that feeling of like building something has gone, and I need more. And I've always kind of been that way, where I want like a magical, exciting life. Like I almost romanticize life.
You are the same. So we always talk about this because my boyfriend's terrified of an ordinary life.
Yeah, we're the same.
And you're the same.
Yeah.
That ordinary kind of cookie cutter.
It
gives
me
anxiety.
Yeah, it gives me anxiety, which is so funny because, you know, it's on one side, it's a dream to have stability and feel safe. And I do need that in some ways. but
you enjoy the chaos, you enjoy the excitement, the fun, the new experiences.
Yeah, and I just feel like, and you always laugh because I'm always like, we're not going to be here one day, and you're always like, I always bring it back to death because Brian will be like, oh, this happened. I'm like, we're literally going to die.
I'm like,
don't worry about it.
I know. But I'm like, please don't tell me I'm going to die.
I know, like, but you are, and I always do feel like I don't want to look back and think, why didn't you just give it a go? And so at that point, I was just, something was missing and I needed more. But so it was that constant battle of what do I do? So what I did, I wasn't in the position just to quit and just go, I'm just going to quit and give it a go, because that would have just been really silly.
Yeah, because financially.
Financially, you've got to pay the bills. So what I started to do was reach out to people and say, listen, because I also needed to build up a fresh new portfolio of my own work. So I was reaching out to people.
And also, I just want to say, you don't have, like, I think a lot of interior designers are fortunate enough that maybe their parents are designers or friends of friends, and they've got this huge network. You didn't have that. No. You had none of that. You grew up in Newcastle.
Yeah, it's an elite. It's a snobby industry.
I completely.
What's funny is someone not that long ago kind of commented, because like social media,
you obviously can't please everyone. You get messages.
It's not real. But I got someone mentioned like, oh, you're so lucky because you kind of friends with these types of people, and it's like, no, I'm not.
And you're only friends with them because they're your clients.
Yeah, it's not my world. That's not where I've come from.
You weren't friends with them and then they became clients. They were clients first, and everyone, as I said, just loves you. You're so much fun to be around. So then they become friends.
Yeah, and that's so important.
I just think you can create your own reality, and I know that is a bit of a woo-woo thing to say, but I mean, you grew up in Newcastle.
Working class.
Exactly, and with I mean, nowhere near the opportunities you've got now, which is just incredible. And I think it's important to say you don't need to kind of create these excuses for yourself, no matter what your background.
Think it's always so easy to, and same for you. Like I feel like people, it's quite easy to say, oh well, it's just Pilates. Anyone can teach Pilates. It's like, yeah, that's so easy to say that and then not do anything about it. Like, yeah, you can teach Pilates, but what are you going to do about it to push it forward and create a brand and be that person? So same with interior design. It is elitist. I think it's changing, but what I'm really passionate about is it not being like that anymore, and about kind of communicating. You don't have to go to the most expensive interior design school to get in. There's always different avenues, and if you really want something, you just get on with it and make it work.
So you were still at this company and you started reaching out to people?
Yeah, so I was at this company and I just thought, right, well, I'm just going to start reaching out to people and offering my time and my services for free, and just see if anyone bites. And so obviously that's how we met. You were one of the first, and I was just like working like a dog. Like,
I remember getting you.
I was already working crazy hours, but so in like the evenings and in the weekends, that's like I was like living, breathing it. And so I was reaching out to people and then doing their homes for free, and then just using the work that I did to get pictures here and there to start building a portfolio and also start kind of building connections. Yeah. And then it got to a point where the inquiries actually started coming in, and I then had to make a decision. Okay, well, let's just go for it. But I didn't do that until I knew that the work was there. And so that's really important, because I think there's a lot of messaging that's like, live your dream, like go for it. And it's like, yeah, do that, but be sensible about it and test the water.
Yeah, and for sure. And just use that time, use the evenings, use your weekends, because you are lucky. Like probably most of your clients loved the fact that you could go over on a Saturday to meet them. So I just think work really hard in the beginning and set yourself up, and like you say, be sensible, because you have got bills to pay and you have got potentially families to support. So yeah, I think that's really good.
But also it's accepting the fact that there's sacrifices, you know, like at the weekend,
the social
the social, like I just did not have a social life I was not spending money on things that I would have used to spend money on. Like I was used to my money coming in and kind of spending
being a bit more selfish.
Yeah, where my mindset changed, and it was like, well, if you want to build this future, and I think that's also why I made the decision. It was like I was always, I think from, you know, where I come from, it's like you work day to day, you make your money, you don't really think about the long term because you're just working to work. Whereas I think I'd got to the point where I was like, well, I love to work. Like I'm never not going to work. So if I'm always going to work and be passionate, then I need to create something that's actually got longevity and that I can do forever. And I wouldn't have been able to do that in the job that I was in. So it was like, okay, well, let's try and pivot and create a life that will last. Yeah, that makes sense. Pivot. we are.
I'm not joking.
Forever pivoting.
Every podcast that I've recorded this week, someone said the word pivot.
Really?
And I just get a nervous laugh because I think of me, you, and Sarah. Yeah. Like trying to carry the. Do you remember when we were doing the event? Trying to carry the sofa out the room. We're going pivot. But yeah, I remember when we first met and you walked in the door and you were just this bundle of energy, and
you were. Bryony jumped on the bed. I thought you had some issues. I was like, we were like walking around talking about like what we could do, and at one point I kind of like clocked. I was like, she's jumping up and down on the bed. Going, we could do this, we could do that, and I was like, we could. I was like,
why was I even doing that? Maybe I was just buzzing off of your energy.
I think you were. No, we were just excited.
It's so exciting, and I think what you do really well. So Rebecca came in, and I was living with an ex-boyfriend at the time, and his house that he owned needed renovating. So we just kind of took that upon ourselves as a project, and it was really successful, wasn't it?
It was really successful.
It looked great. But anyway,
he got an offer, didn't he? So he did it, and then
because it was really hard to sell, and then as soon as you did it, it was having offers. So. Exactly. Proof is in the pudding.
Myself up.
I know. But the whole process was just so much fun. And I think what you do so well and what you're, I think, so passionate about is creating this safe, happy place where people feel really calm. And I'm just interested, where did that come from, that passion?
It's so funny because, like you touched on, like from like such a normal background in the north, not even in the city, like outskirts of the city, like working class, everyone's just like working to survive, like normal. So the interior design world was not even on my radar. Like the thought of paying someone to come in and make your house look good, like we would have probably laughed. Like it was like that's
alien.
Alien. But from a really, really young age, like I've got such strong memories of, I remember like my mum was painting like up the stairs, and she had like, there was a dado rail, which is like, it separates the top and the bottom bit of the wall. Yellow, the bottom bit. And I remember having like a physical reaction, like, okay, well, number one, I hate that colour, and number two, you need to take it all the way up. and like really having like a strong reaction to like, that doesn't look good. And then if like a room needed painting, I would paint it. Then from there, I remember when I got like jobs in bars, like rather than like serving the customer, I'd be like rearranging the glasses on the shelves because like, I want it to look good. So it was always there. It was like I was always moving things around because it just made me feel so much better, and I wanted to kind of create these like beautiful spaces.
So you kind of would lose yourself in the creative and the design, and
myself.
The design aspect would make you feel happy,
and it was the reaction. So I remember like the owner of the bar, he'd gone out, it was a day shift, it was dead, and I completely rearranged the bar. I went and got flowers. There was a bar that I worked at. It was in the north, and it was a golf club. And it was just it was old school.
Okay.
I mean, what I did was not groundbreaking, but it was like, I just know if I move this table there and these chairs there, and I'll go to the
bit
other...
of feng shui.
Bit of feng shui. And they walked in and they were like, oh my God, it looks so good. And that feeling of like, they are so happy with it made me so happy. Yeah. And I just, that's what I love, is like that end result when people are just so happy with what you've done, and they feel like that's the space like really reflects
that sigh
them.
of relief when you walk in your home and you're just like, it feels so good to be home.
And I think it's also like, you know, there was quite a lot of chaos when I was younger. So creating these safe spaces where you really feel comfortable is like so important to me.
Yeah.
So when you go home,
because you know how it is to feel the opposite, so it's like you also know how incredible it feels
to feel
when you
so,
do feel safe,
yeah.
happy, calm, zen, just so at home and at peace.
I just feel like home is just so important. You just need to feel so happy and good at home.
Yeah.
So if I can give that to people, then that's like job done. That's what that's what I'm so passionate about.
Yeah, I love that. And do people, so that then spirals, so you're reaching out to people like me and messaging different, not like me, I didn't mean it to sound like that.
Little old me.
Little old me. You were messaging people at that time, a few people, and then you got a few because you were doing different rooms.
And what's so funny is
did it then snowball?
Yeah, because everyone was like, really, that's the thing that I think sparked the fear, is when I started kind of communicating to people, I think I'm going to do this. People started really scaring me, like, well, how are you going to do it? You don't know anyone in that world. You haven't got a client base. Like, the work you've been doing is a different clientele to this, what you're trying to do.
So people kind of putting that doubt and fear.
Yeah, doubt into my head, but if anything, it makes me go, okay, well,
I'll
literally do the complete opposite of what you've just said.
Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. So it was a case of building it up, and every project that I got, I think this a bit of a tip is, when I was doing things, I didn't say to you, did I? If I do this, I want you to do this, this, and this for me.
That's a big no-no.
Yeah, I think it's a big no-no.
Have no expectations.
I think if you want something back, personally, I found if you just do a good job and you're a nice person, people,
you put your all into it. People want to support you, and if you have done a good job, they will. It goes without saying, but I definitely don't think go into it saying, I'll offer this, and then in return I want this and this and this. You'll just get people not replying to you.
But what actually,
because it's an aggressive approach, and I don't think it works.
Then it starts to feel like a transaction.
Yeah.
But but also what's funny is, back then, I didn't, my head wasn't even in Instagram. I wasn't an Instagram.
You were building your portfolio.
Yeah, I wasn't doing it to go.
You were doing it for the pictures.
Yeah, so I actually got it the wrong way around. I was reaching out, just like, I just want some pictures so I can start presenting them to people. I didn't even think,
that wasn't your focus.
Yeah, that wasn't my focus. I think but that's actually what helped me, because I was just doing my best to make it look the best. Then I think, like, you were so supportive, and then from that you introduced me to someone, and I think from there it snowballed. And again, that's my kind of little bit of advice is, for me, 90% of my works come from recommendations. So if you just focus on doing a really good job and stop thinking about kind of what they can bring you, then the rest will follow.
So focus kind of almost on that day. Like, okay, today I'm meeting with this client. I am going to make this meeting, or this, whatever it is, design meeting, initial meeting, I'm going to give it my 100% and make sure I pay. Also, attention to detail is so important, isn't it?
So important. I mean, do you remember? Because at that point, you weren't even sure how long you were going to stay there. So I was like, well, I need to get pictures. So I lent you my artwork. I was buying my own accessories, bringing them in. Didn't even tell you, because I don't want the feeling of, oh no, don't do that. It's like, no, I want to do it because it's going to get me better pictures. So it's doing everything that extra mile on everything.
And then every time that I would invite Rebecca over just for a cup of tea, she would like rearrange the shelf.
Yeah, to get another
She's
picture.
just so invested in it, which is just so nice. And I see that with all of your clients now. And now you have the most incredible client base. I mean, you're doing celebrities' houses. You're doing people that you would never or projects that you would never have dreamed of.
I know. It's
a few years ago. So I think the growth can happen so quickly, can't it?
Oh my God, the growth can happen so quickly. And it's really strange, because in the moment you're not even aware of it. You're just doing it. You're just doing the work. And it's probably, to be fair, only now where I can look back and go, oh my God, I can't believe in that
That
space
this
of
has
time.
happened.
Yeah, that this has happened. But, I
But
mean,
it's good that you can do that, because I mean, we often talk, I'm like, oh my God, you'll call me with this new project that you've just signed, and I'm like, what, Rebecca? I'm not even surprised, because you deserve everything and more, but I'm just like in awe, and it's incredible. And I always say to you, you need to like sit back and just look at what you've done. But I know what it's like when you're in it. You're just like, no, keep going, keep going.
And you just don't want an ego. I think that's the thing as well. You don't want to get to a point where you're like, oh well, I'm doing this and it's like, no. You've got so much more to do. Like, I feel like I've only just started in what I want to do and where I want to go. So it's like, that's great, and I love it, but on to the next.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but I think that's what I've been so grateful for as well, is when you start a business, especially you've gone from a team to like being on your own.
Yeah,
it can be really hard, because
it can be so daunting,
and you've got no one to kind of bounce ideas off. But I honestly feel like we were meant to meet each other, because we were talking like every day. Bryony gives the best business advice.
Oh, I don't know.
No, she really does. And I can be an overthinker, can't I? I can really overthink what I'm doing. But I'll call Bryony and she'll be like, stay in your lane, don't be looking left, don't be looking right. You know, it's happened, come up with a solution and move on. Whereas my mindset used to be a bit more like, oh, I wish I'd done this, or I wish I'd done that. But Bryony has this talent of like, it's happened, it's not great, we move on. And I feel like that's honestly one of the biggest things that I've taken from you with like work stuff. It's been great.
I love our morning calls.
Oh my God, every morning. If I don't pick up, she gets so angry, and it's like,
I know,
sorry,
I'm like,
Bryony,
Rebecca, I'm on my walk. I'm
you.
like dying to tell you this story. I'm dying to tell you what's happened, or I want your advice. If she doesn't pick up, it like throws me off.
Yeah, she's like, can you pick up? And I'm like, literally, I'm in a meeting.
I give her a warning. I'm like, going for a walk in 5. Get the cup of tea.
No, but it's been so helpful. Can you imagine if we didn't have that?
But I know I don't even want to think. I can't bear
it.
Gives
me shivers.
But having that support system around you, and especially if you are working on your own, it's so helpful to have people around you that really lift
and
lift
also,
you up.
I think it's a case of like not being shy to ask, because a lot of the clients that I've been working with, they're all so successful in their own way. They've all got such amazing things going on. And so now I've got like one client in particular, Robin, and she has just been such a mentor to me.
Amazing.
She's amazing, and she really like takes, people are so nice actually, and I think you can also get a bit wrapped up like, oh, everything's so hard and everything's against me. And it's like, if you shift your mindset,
exactly, if you just reframe it, actually most people are
nice.
Really incredible, so friendly, wanting to help you, and not focusing on the minority, I think.
And as long as it's equal, it's not a case of asking people for all of this help. It's like, I will do something to them in return.
It naturally kind of happens, doesn't it? Would you say one of your biggest struggles has been the growth?
Yes, definitely.
How have you handled that? Because you are one person, and I know you started obviously as one person. And now you have a team that help you. But what was the turning point, and how has that kind of unfolded?
It was, I'll be honest, it was like really, really hard. Like, because I didn't take the traditional route, it was just really bloody hard, because I was like learning every single day. I was saying, I had the mentality of
say yes to everything.
Yeah, say yes to everything. Just make it work.
Because you never know. I remember us having that conversation. You were like, well, you just never know. And I'm like, you need to get that out of your head.
And
you need to have like this abundant mindset.
The abundant is the word, because you really taught. I didn't even know what abundant meant. And I was like, abundance. And I'd be thinking, and it was changing my mindset from the last job, where it was like, there was targets. In every company, it's a commercial, there's targets. You've got to hit your target. You've got to make sure stuff's coming in. And I still had that mindset of like, if they've come in, if the inquiry's there, you make it, you take it. And I really was on like a burnout situation.
So basically, in the beginning, you just said yes to everything.
I said yes to absolutely everything. And
until the point where you physically couldn't, and then you grew your team.
Yeah. Well, then to my boyfriend, who has helped me so much in this process, like he has helped me with the contracts and invoicing and all this. Shout out to Ollie Bob. He has though, and
he's the best.
He was the one that was like, right, enough's enough.
Yeah.
Like the work is there, and
it's still coming.
It's still coming, and I'm really passionate about quality over quantity anyway. It's not like I wanted to be doing all these projects. It was just the mindset I was in. So then we like took a step back, looked at the pricing structure, and then kind of really discussed the fact that it's now at a point where it's just as important to say no as it is to say yes.
So was that when you were able to, because I'm always interested, you have such a distinct style, Terre Interiors, like if I'm traveling or whatever, I'll always send you a picture when I'm,
yeah, you will.
I'm like, oh, if Terre Interiors was in Miami, but this is you.
She won't. She'll go Terry just to wind me up.
Oh yeah. Some people think she's called Terry Interiors, like Terry's chocolate.
Which also
orange.
I don't care, but it's just so funny, isn't it? It's like, oh, nice to meet you, Terry. It's like
People think
your
your name.
Number two, that's actually not my name, but it's cool.
But you have such a distinctive look. So how did you bridge that gap? Because obviously in the beginning, everyone's coming to you. You want to say yes to everything, even though it's not your style.
Yeah, of course.
So when did you then kind of go to... Obviously, you were then able to say no to more. Did that then help you develop this signature style with your clients?
Yeah, I think...
Being able to say no.
I think it's like such a good question, because I think, again, a lot of younger people will kind of approach it in the very beginning, like they've got their look and they're pushing that, and they only want to work with people that have that look also.
Yeah.
But
which in an ideal world, of course.
Yeah, of course, that'd be fantastic. But it just doesn't.
In reality, you need the cash.
Yeah, you need the cash, and you've got to start somewhere. So for me, it was like when I was doing projects, and I've done like projects for free that's completely not my style, but whatever, like I want to make the client happy, and I want to get experience, and I would literally get a picture of a vase on a table in the corner, and even if I did the whole house, that is a shot that and I might bring my own vase one day with some flowers or whatever, and that will then build up just an aesthetic on my Instagram and in my portfolio, and then over time you can start kind of building that out. But it takes time to get to a point where you can then start saying no. It's like a privilege to be at that point. It doesn't start that way by any means.
No, it's something that builds up.
Exactly.
And also I think it's about, we always say this, but it's about the long game, isn't it? The short term, of course, you know, if a brand came in and wanted to, or not a brand, I'm just kind of saying, like for example, with me, I would never work with, let's just use milk.
Right, yeah.
Oatly.
Yeah. Oh, she said it.
Or a milk brand that I really didn't agree with the ingredients.
Yes.
If they came to me, I wouldn't be able to say yes, but I'm only at that point, you know.
Yeah, of course.
But it's because I'm more focused on the long game. I want my followers or subscribers to be loyal and know that what I'm recommending is what I'm recommending.
But you gave
and
me
it's the
such good
same with
advice
you.
for that.
You're looking, rather than to make a quick buck, you're looking at longevity for your business.
Yeah, and it's not like I don't want to just work with people for the sake of working with people. It's about the look and the work that I'm doing. So, but there's been a couple of instances where someone's come forward and it's so not the right fit. And also, but
for them,
that's the thing. It gets to a point where is it a good fit? Like, not just for me, but for you, because if your style is so different to what naturally comes to me, I'm not doing you service by taking it on. It's not fair. It's going to take up so much more of my energy, because I'm going to have to work that little bit harder to really understand that look that doesn't come naturally to me, and it's going to eat up all of your time. So was it even worth taking it on? And something that actually was Robin, who's like works as my mentor, she said categorize it. So now, it's like,
I think this is a really good
It's been so helpful for me. The 3 categories are, if I remember it correctly, does it give you joy? And I know, again, that's like a privilege because not everything does, but is it something that maybe that doesn't pay the best, but it's going to give you so much joy, you're going to thrive, and you're going to get loads of kind of content and
excitement and happiness.
Yes. Yeah. Is it going to pay well? So is it actually just going to put money in the bank so you can then push the brand forward? Or is it going to give you marketing? So is it going to kind of boost you forward? And so that's now where I kind of put the project in. And if it's not going to give me joy, and it's not going to even give me that much money, then it's probably just not going to be worth it.
Yeah,
Might as well.
it's not going to market. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good framework to kind of build off of, because you can't, I mean, realistically, you can't say yes to everything.
No.
And it must be hard for interior designers, because not everyone, like I could train anyone, if you know what I mean, but you can't design a space for everyone.
No.
Because it is such a personal thing.
But it has been difficult, because there's been a couple of clients where they're like such incredible clients and what they want is incredible, but I've had to say, I'm sorry, but I can't do it now.
Yeah.
Because if I do that now, then
It takes time away from one.
and those other, like every project is so important. And for me, that's where my focus is if you take your eye off the projects and let your ego run away with you and want to do all this stuff, then it's not going to work anyway.
I also think you're not going to stand out as an interior designer unless you have that signature look.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you're just going to be another interior designer.
And
it has to, I mean,
you can't cover all styles. It's impossible.
Yeah.
When I'm working in the past, when I've worked on styles that just doesn't come naturally to me, it's so hard because it's just not there. So that's why it's so important now for me to be aligned with someone, so we're both getting the best.
I think those are really good tips. And also I wanted to ask you,
oh God,
if you just to finish off, because I want to get all of your
oh God,
little
how long
gems.
have we been going?
I know, we've only got about 10 minutes left.
Have we?
So what would you say if money were no object? Where would be your go-to places to visit? To source?
Oh my God. My go-to places. What, as in brands or countries or anywhere?
To source products.
Well,
can be anything. It could be a vintage website.
Yeah, it's vintage. So the best sites are, for me, Vinteria, which is incredible. First Dibs, incredible. The only thing you have to kind of know about these websites, and you'll know because you've kind of got into kind of vintage furniture, you have to put the time in. Like you've got to.
Well, I don't know about it because that's.
Oh yeah, I do it. Yeah,
you do it.
Yeah, because she's like, "Can you just quickly have a look?" And I'm like, "I can't quickly have a look, but I'll have a look."
But I think that's one of the benefits of having an interior designer. It's, especially for someone that's a bit like kind of time poor.
Yeah.
It is, you want to be able to come home and have that like happy place, but you might not necessarily have the time. Like I know you've got lots of clients that are traveling all over the world and stuff, and they don't have that time to invest into their home.
Yeah.
And that's the benefit of having an interior designer. They have that time, they have the knowledge, you know how to navigate Vinteria and First Dibs. And I also think a lot of people are wanting vintage because they're wanting the one-off pieces. I know for me, I love when you find me something that's one-off.
Yeah.
That no one else will have, that's got history, that looks so genuine and authentic in your home, and it doesn't just look samey as everyone else.
But it's but that's the other kind of benefit of an interior designer, is it doesn't matter how much you can spend. It's like if you put the time in, we want to get the best product, but at the best price. Just because you can spend X on a vintage sofa, I'd rather be able to source that at a more cost-effective price for you, because like you work hard for your money, like it's just not necessary. So
but that's why your business plan is so authentic, is because you don't actually take commission on items. You charge per project, which really attracted me to you in the first place.
Yeah, because I just don't want that to be.
So, but actually, what's so great is you're like going out there and you love a bargain.
I love a bargain.
So you always ask for a discount, and you just give that discount to us.
And that's another tip. So if you're ever looking on Etsy, is another really good one. People kind of think Etsy's just for like knitted gloves that someone's gran in like it's true. Like people think, oh, Etsy's a bit twee. No, Etsy's great.
Etsy's amazing.
Etsy's amazing. Like I've sourced lighting from a supplier in India and you think, oh, is this going to be okay? Like I've never actually gone to see this thing, and they've been fantastic. But the point is, always ask for a discount, because there's always a little wiggle room. So it doesn't matter what the budget is that we have to work with. We're always asking for discounts, and I love being able to say to clients, we've got you this at this price, and save your money. Like I buzz off that.
But also I think your clients really respect you for that, and you keep the client loyalty because they're like, wow, that Rebecca didn't have to do that. But so I think that would be another good tip for people creating. That is your USP. A lot of designers charge commission on each furniture item, or they get the trade discount, but they charge you the normal price. So I think for you, that's another reason why
it's all smoke and mirrors. It's like you get, well, this is the one price, but we're charging you another price. And I've seen it before.
It's quite underhand, actually.
And I've seen it before working with like footballers and things where, you know, if you don't know what normally something costs, I could quite easily say it's 3 times the price, and you know,
no one would know.
And I just think it's, for me, I want to offer like a very approachable, friendly, genuine, like everything that I'm sourcing, I can give it directly to you without having to worry about what that price is.
Yeah, it's so transparent.
And then I can really focus on the look rather than all of these other aspects. So that's really important to me, especially when I know how hard people work.
Yeah, for their money.
Yeah.
Another, I wanted you to just touch on it. If people are on a budget, how are ways that people can create this calm, peaceful, zen?
I've just given you a little footsie there.
Ooh. What would you say are some tips? Like, are there certain brands that you like, stores that are great on a budget? I know that that coffee table I found on Zara Home.
Oh my God, yeah, that's in my
You've
house.
Actually stolen it.
Yeah, you're not actually getting it back.
She stole, yeah.
No, because I wanted that coffee table for so long.
She's a great interior designer. She might steal your furniture.
No. But I just feel like the rule is if I've had something for 6 months, unfortunately,
She's
that's
like,
now mine.
Can I just borrow your coffee table just because I was moving out and I was going to put it into storage? She was like, I'll just take it like for a couple of months.
Yeah.
Honestly, the
That's
other
what I'm
day,
saying, like, I'm always looking for
I
a bargain.
suggested that I would take that back, and she was like, no, Bryony, honestly, Bryony, that's not kind.
No, you can't. No, seriously, no, you can't take that back.
But
moving that along.
I remember like H&M Home,
oh God,
Zara Home. We've got some really, really nice pieces.
I actually just don't genuinely. I think this is where it's shifted. I think like a few years ago, people wanted to be able to say, "Oh, my sofa's from here," or you know, this is from this brand. I actually just don't care where anything's from. I'm not embarrassed to say this is from Zara Home, because if it looks good and the quality's there, who cares where it's from?
Yeah.
But I think if you're on a budget, number one, I think where people go a bit wrong is the rushing. Like, take your time, live in this space, especially if you're on a budget, because you need to work out what's most important to you. Because on Instagram,
prioritize key items that maybe need putting a little bit more money into, and then where you can save.
Yeah,
I mean,
you can.
Also, remember when we were doing the house up, you made these. I remember there was a picture of Rosie Huntington Whiteley's like dressing room or something, and you made our wardrobes look like that from just painting them, and then you got these Zara Home doorknob handle things.
So a tip actually, if you're on a budget and you want like a high-end look, is painting everything the same. So if you go to the likes of IKEA and you get wardrobes, get a joiner just to kind of fill that gap at the top, and then paint it all the same colour rather than having that division. But another good tip is it's proportions and sizing. So if you are on a budget, don't have loads of little things, go for less but big feature things. So if you go to Zara Home and get a big feature vase, go outside, go and break off a branch, like an oversized branch, put it on your dining table, and that will be like a wow factor focal feature, rather than trying to buy lots of little things. And same with like rugs, get a nice, save up that little bit longer and get a nice big rug that will frame the entire area, rather than rushing and get a small rug that just won't look very premium. So I think size is really important.
You also go to a lot of antique fairs and get really good.
Arningdale's really good. Like
Ardingly.
Oh God.
Ardingdale.
Oh, can you cut that out? That's fantastic, because you can go and you can you find really good contacts, and now I speak to a lot of them without going to the fair. And they always give really good pricing. If you want outlets, well, there's the Restoration Hardware. I think in the minute
there's one in Essex. Isn't there?
It's in randomly. It's in the Blue Water. Is that the right? I think it's Blue Water.
Okay.
Google it, but it's in Essex, and that's
Restoration
great.
Hardware outlet.
Yeah.
Andrew Martin has an outlet as well
in Wimbledon. That's amazing. And actually, Facebook Marketplace is a really good one.
That's so good.
If you again put the time in and put the right words in, and same with what's that? What's everyone go on? It's like the logo with the red, green. You can buy cheap stuff on there. Not Amazon. What is it? eBay.
Just that small business.
Little small business you might not have heard of. But the tip is, for example, if you're searching something, a lot of the sellers spell things incorrectly. So if you actually spell things like I don't know, sofa, but look at the keys that gets next to the F. A lot of time people put the wrong word in and then you miss off a lot of the search. So
No way.
So like travertine, they might miss off the E.
They might call it tavatine or
Yes,
something.
yeah.
Oh, that is such
Yeah,
a good tip.
and then
So
I
then you
found
get no one's bidding
no
on
one's
those
bidding
because
on
no
it.
one searches it.
And I'm like, I'll give you 50 quid. And they're like, oh, finally an offer. It's like, well, you've not spelt it correctly.
That is such a good
Yeah, but
tip.
travertine, people always miss off the E. So search it without the E.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
now
hot
everyone's
tip.
learned that lesson.
I know.
Okay, just to finish, this has been so good.
Okay. I hope I've given some value.
It's
to
so
people.
valuable. What would be your one golden business advice tip?
Just start.
Yeah.
Just start, and if I'm allowed to do another one, just be nice. I think a lot of chat is like, oh, you've got to, business bitch. Like
Yeah.
all these like boss bitch and all of this. It's like, you don't need to be like
Aggressive,
that.
yeah.
Actually, if you just work hard and
You're a
be,
nice person.
Be a nice person. I'm not saying I'm such a nice person, but be
you are.
fair, be nice, and I think that goes a long way as well.
Put your heart and soul into it.
Yeah.
Aww.
Aww.
I can't believe we've made through without crying.
I know. I've been so nervous because I'm such a crier.
Rebecca's such a
I'm such a crier.
I'm like Cameron Diaz from The Holiday.
You
where
can't.
she's
You're like,
like
trying to push one out.
and push one out.
Oh no! Can you cut that out? Oh, see, I was doing so well. No, we can't end on that, Bryony. Say
That is
something
the
else.
perfect ending.
Oh, God.
Love you so
Love
much.
you so
Thank
much.
you for coming
and
on.
thank you for everything.